Everyone, thanks for jumping on. Tonight is Monday, April 25th, 2016. Welcome to the Alliance team call, and there's going to be some Team RIP 411 people on the call tonight. We have special guest speaker Mike McBride. But before we do that, I just want to make a special announcement. Two things. Number one, I just heard that Keith just won a special prize of $500 in the Beachbody Challenge. So he should be for Hammer and Chisel, I think it was. And so that's awesome. Congrats, Keith. And then we also, so what that really means is just remember, tell even yourselves as coaches and your clients, submit your photos. You could win. You could win $500. Now he's going to enter into the monthly prize for $1,000, then quarterly for I think $5,000, right? And then it's I think what $100,000 grand prize winner. So. And
doesn't Karina also get money too?
Yes.
Because yes.
I'm fine with the money. You know what I want? I want to use him, so we'll be good.
And then what was the other? I think Chris Wallace. She just got her first check. First month as being a coach. She hit Success Club as a full month as a coach, so she'll be heading guest starter. So that's awesome as well. So I'll introduce Mike now. Mike is. We were on the same original team of Josh Spencer, coach of 2000, top coach of 2010, and his team, Team Next Level, down from his Team Motivate, and then the Alliance. Shauna's on the phone. Welcome, Shauna, and welcome everybody else. So Mike is, I've spent a lot of time with Mike at different summits. We've been on different, training groups together, and just on different calls with Josh as well. So, but Mike, if you just and we were also on the Success Club trip back in March, so that was a lot of fun too. So, Mike, take it away if you want to just start with your story and how you became a coach and what you're going to talk about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to Team Alliance. It's an incredible honor to be invited. And if you all don't tell Jonathan how amazing he is every single day, then you should, because you have no idea what an incredible leader that you have. So appreciate him, make him feel really good, and work really, really hard. Deal? You can do a thumbs up.
You're embarrassing me.
Cool. Yeah, stroke. So my name is Michael McBride. I am I'm from Chicago, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my story as I go through my presentation, but Jonathan's asked me to talk about selfies, to talk about social media, specifically about selfies. There's a lot we can talk about, and I probably prepared too much already. But I'm going to hopefully limit myself to the selfies. And I made a presentation, a keynote presentation. So let me see if this is actually going to play. And if we can do I'm going to do a little screen share. Cross your fingers, everyone. Let's try desktop 2 and see if it plays. All right, how's that look to you all? Can you see the big screen? Should. You can give a thumbs up if it's good.
I see it.
Awesome.
You're good.
All right. So my presentation is called The Art of the Selfie. Maybe Kim K was onto something. Do we all know who Kim K is? Kim Kardashian. She's like the queen of the selfies, for the better or for the worse. But she's been doing all right, I guess. Oh, shoot. My keynote quit unexpectedly. Let's see if this opens. Okay.
Just a reminder, if you guys can put yourself on mute, so that just to eliminate the background noise, that would be awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. Cool. All right, but first, let me take a selfie. So first of all, we start out with some funnies. So we've got these two Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's trying to take a selfie, but he just doesn't feel like he's up for it because of his short arms. And this goes to prove to the fact that even if you feel like a Tyrannosaurus Rex and you have the inability to take selfies and to do it well, don't worry. With some tips from tonight, I hope that you will be able to essentially grow your arms so that you can take better selfies. And one other, a handy step-by-step guide to taking great selfies. You know, it's important that you have the right angle. In this cartoon, it says you have to hold it really low, even lower, lay down the phone, and stop taking selfies. This is some of the perspective that a lot of people have with taking selfies. They feel really uncomfortable putting themselves out there. But as we know, as Beachbody coaches and people who are branding ourselves, the selfie or the picture is one of the most powerful ways that we can communicate who we are and our intentions for the world around us. So just to go over some ground rules, how to not waste your time tonight, I encourage everybody to take notes, either electronically or write it down on a pad. I know Pete is probably taking my notes verbatim because he's amazing at that. And I want you to focus on a few things as you're writing notes. Write down what you already do. Even if you're like, yep, I know that, write it down. Number 2, write down your aha moments if there's something new. Number 3, write down questions that you have. At the end of the time, I'll have a Q&A where you can ask those questions. And then number 4, write down what you need to teach somebody else. Because the whole reason that we're doing this is so that we can not only learn, but also create other leaders who are following in our place. A little bit about me. My name is Michael McBride. I'm the founder of Team Rich 411. I'm a Diamond Beachbody coach, musician, performer, teacher. I built my business primarily over social media, and I have a combined following of over 20,000 spread over Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. Those are kind of the top ones that I'm on. And my brand is really focusing on what I call the 3 M's, muscles, music, and motivation. And I've got 2 pictures right here just to kind of demonstrate some of my growth over the past several years. In 2012, the top picture received a total of 3 likes, woohoo, which I thought was awesome that somebody was paying attention. And then earlier this year, this picture of me making my Shakeology and holding a banana received 128 likes. So if you feel like you're early in the game with your social media, if you feel like nobody is engaging with you, take heart. There are some specific things that you can do to help that. I've got a few sections that I want to cover today. So we'll start out with some foundations, then I'll give you some selfie tips. We'll talk about editing and how to balance your social media posts so you're not overwhelming everybody with one thing. And then finally, some thoughts on diversifying social media platforms. So starting off with some social media foundations. This is basically my general thoughts for social media overall, no matter what platform you're using. Number 1, every single post has to have value. Don't do any filler. The value of your post is in the eye of the beholder. You can think something is really clever, but if other people don't, it doesn't really matter because this is not for you. Social media is not for you. Social media is for them. So the only way that you can understand what people value is by putting yourself in their shoes, by asking questions. Basically, the main 3 categories of providing value for people is entertainment, information, and relationship. And as you are posting on social media, please, please, please do not think of yourself as a salesperson that will cause everybody in your life to run away from you. But I want you to think of yourself as a media company. And I get this directly from Gary Vaynerchuk, who's like one of the big social media gurus. If you're interested in further study, I definitely recommend 2 of Gary's books, Thank You Economy and Jab, 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 Right Hook. And then also I always recommend Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's basically how to be cool and how not to be a terrible person. No matter what techniques you use on social media, all it does is amplify who you are. And if you are a person that nobody wants to be with, then you need to work on that. And there are some specific ways that you can do that. And this book was one of the things that unlocked it for me. So first of all, social media foundations, I want you to break apart the words social and media. it's social. This is people. This is relationships. This is really kind of understanding other people, asking questions, like going to a party. And it's also media. This is not a time to plug your thing all the time. This is, think of it like a radio or TV. So it's about providing content that is valuable. And if I can just sum up, the most important thing to understand about social media is that there are real people on the other side of that phone or of that computer. It's not just a video game. If you can keep that in mind, you can have compassion and empathy for those that you're interacting with. Okay, so now to our second section, selfie tips. First of all, why the selfie? I read this book a few years ago by Sally Hogshead called Fascinate, which actually talks about this study that was done of infants and their ability to recognize the face. And that actually happens very, very soon in a person's life. So it is hardwired within us. It's primal for us to recognize people's faces. So that's one of the big reasons why, it's not called a shouldery. It's not called, I don't know, a footy. It's about your face. That is where people recognize who you are. So a few things to think about when making a great selfie. First of all, you have to try to appear, even if it's not for real, you have to try to appear effortless. If you look like you're trying too hard, then it comes off as inauthentic and desperate. And you don't want that. You want people coming to you, not you running after them. The main elements of a great selfie, first of all, is great lighting. If you don't have great lighting, pretty much everything looks like crap. So if, stay away from fluorescence as much as possible. Natural lighting is great. Of course, I know a lot of people have invested in the Diva light, which is this ring light that makes everybody look amazing. But that's really important. If you're doing a body shot with lighting, a slight down lighting is really good to accentuate the muscles. If you're doing a face shot, either pretty much straight on or from the side profile is a really great way to accentuate your facial features. But just make sure that there's sufficient light. If it's too dark, it doesn't look that great. I already talked about the face, just the importance of the face. I like to kind of use it as a chance to act, to give a facial expression. So not just the same kind of big plastered smile on your face, but actually give some sort of an expression. Make sure that it's clear, usually that your eyes are wide open. And a lot of times it looks pretty good if it's kind of taken from the front or taken from slightly above. For the eyes in particular, number one, the rule is don't look at the screen, look at the camera. That's where the picture is happening. For the most part, although you can do some artsy things where you're looking away, but just don't look at the screen. It looks really weird. Your eyes need to be alive. Your eyes are the body part that people look at when they look at you. So they don't look at your nose, they don't look at your ears, they don't look at your shoulders, they look at your eyes when they're looking at you. So that's the focus, and that needs to have some sort of communication. By the way, I've got lots of notes here, so if I'm looking down, that's why. The mouth. Lots of options here. We've got the big smile, we've got the closed mouth smirk, you've got the ever famous duck lips, used sparingly, but it can have its place. If you haven't discovered this from the Kardashians, the duck lips have been replaced by the blow, where your lips are slightly apart and it's like you're blowing out. It gives a little more fullness to the lips. So the duck face is out, just FYI. For the body, in general, unless you're trying to prove some sort of point, you want to make the angle of your body look there we go. Great. So, if you're standing, a lot of people will stand at a diagonal and twist their torso toward the camera, so it really accentuates the breadth of your shoulders and a smaller waist. If you are short, like I am, then you can actually take body photos from below, and that makes you appear taller. Whenever people see me in person, they always say, I thought you were taller. Let's see. Okay, so now let's talk about some different options. There's the traditional selfie where you're holding the camera. Then there's the mirror selfie. A big tip for mirror selfie is, number one, make sure your mirror is clean. Don't have a gross mirror. And number two, make sure you don't have anything weird in the background. Like, clean your room or make your bed, or, don't have like a big pile of clothes, or I don't know, something crazy in the background that's distracting. Of course, you can always use the camera timer so that technically it's not a selfie, but it's of yourself, so that you can place the camera in a specific location, and you can pose that way. I like to mix up the amount of posed pictures versus candid pictures, which really gets back to that idea of appearing to be effortless. And then, of course, there's just the principal photography rules of the rule of thirds. If you have seen the crosshairs on your phone, you can turn that grid on. If you align the focal point where those lines intersect, then that often creates a picture.
That always looks like a hashtag, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of looks like a hashtag. Yeah, it divides the square up into 9 component squares. You can experiment with perspective. A little tip, whatever is closer to the camera looks bigger. So if you want to look like you have really big arms, then put your arms closer to the camera. But just really play around with perspective and get creative with that. And then the final thing that I want to say about this is, don't use those funky borders in the the photo editing apps. They look really cheesy and cheap, and they don't add anything. So keep things nice and clean. Let me show just a couple examples of some pictures. I'm going to take it off of that screen share. Let's do stop share. And I'm going to go over to, let's do this. I'm just going to go over to my Instagram.
Well, Mike, while you're doing that, we're all just going to take a quick team picture here. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. All right.
Beautiful.
Jonathan.
I know, you missed the Diva Light opportunity. We'll do another one.
All right, I'm good. There you go. All right, so I just pulled up the webpage of my Instagram right here. If you don't follow me, I'm The Real McBride everywhere. So just some options of some examples. Just took this today. I was doing yoga and took a little video. This picture from below makes me look tall. Put my shoulders right in front there. There's an expression there. So feel free to scan the rest of my Instagram if you're curious about that. But I've got a lot of selfies there. Okay, let me pause. Are there any questions so far that you've written down? If not, that's okay, because we can have a big Q&A.
I have a question.
Yeah, John?
How do you become more comfortable with taking pictures that you wouldn't normally post?
Yeah. So I think that, first of all, is there anybody here who has any reservation with taking pictures of themselves? Like, raise your hand if you felt that little twinge of like, ooh, I don't know if I want to take a picture of myself. Yeah? 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 Okay, cool. So
and posting
do you
posting it on your wall and stuff like that, not just in a booth.
Sure, and then sharing them. Do you enjoy? So let me ask you this question: do you enjoy seeing pictures of other people?
Yeah.
Yeah, thumbs up. So people probably enjoy seeing pictures of you, right? If you feel self-conscious about the way you look, then it's probably more in your own head, and everybody else thinks you're more wonderful than you do. And if you feel like you're looking like total crap, you can always take it as an opportunity to talk about how you're improving yourself. But the most important thing is put yourself out there, because if you are making your life amazing, you have an amazing body in your business, you're starting to grow, but nobody knows about it, then you're going to hit a ceiling. And it's not going to do anybody else any good as well. Being selfish about not sharing your selfies is actually that you're missing out on an opportunity to help somebody else out who was probably in your shoes 3 steps before. So treat it as an act of hospitality and generosity, not an act of self-interest. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Michael, it's Shauna. I love that. Do you have that as a quote?
What's that?
I said, do you have that as a quote? Because that's awesome.
I don't, but this call is recorded, and I'm sure Pete transcribed it.
I am so thrilled that you're here. I know a lot of people that I've spoken with, especially on our team. I'm like, I can't find a photo of you by yourself anywhere on your Facebook page. I think that was like the realization that they take 0 selfies, and I'm like, it's okay. You know, so I'm really glad that you're speaking tonight because number one, I love you to pieces, and I'm really excited to, you know, to see you in just a few months. But yeah, this is important, guys. Listen to Michael. I've been following him. I think we started, I don't know, roughly about the same time, I want to say, or he's a little bit before me, and I've just watched him soar. Like, this is his thing. I watched him do a thing on Snapchat the other day. Amazing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and I'll say one of my success stories that I'm so proud of, who's here in the call, Pete McCusker, your selfie game has improved dramatically. All the way to the point that a couple nights ago, he actually got on Facebook Live and shared his tips on how to overcome obstacles, and it was super powerful. And that's all the way from, you know, a few years ago, selfies were not something that you would do, right, Pete? And look at the great lighting he has as well. If you don't see him in great lighting, it's great.
I remember Pete when Michael did his Instagram training, like forever ago, Michael. I remember watching that, and I remember Pete being on there. So I'm excited to still see you here.
He's worked hard.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love it. Okay, sorry for interrupting.
No,
you guys know I just have to talk.
No worries. Great. All right, so let me get on to the next section, which is editing. Editing photos. Let's share screen first. I'll do desktop 2, share. All right, so for editing, I'm gonna just talk a little bit about this and then give a demo about kind of my process for editing photos. So there are a million photo editing apps out there. You can search your app store and find a crazy amount of them. Currently, my favorites are, the first one is called Enlight, which I paid $4 for. That's how good it is. I know we get kind of spoiled with free apps, and when you have to pay for an app, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to spend $1 for something that's going to make me look amazing. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Spend the money. It's totally worth it. So Enlight, and then Instagram. I actually use the filters on Instagram. That's actually how I started Instagram. I thought it was a photo editing app. I didn't realize it was a whole social media platform until quite a bit later. General principles that I follow are, the whole point of editing photos are to enhance rather than to distort. Yes, you can do a lot of crazy special effects, but when it starts to not look like you and it starts to not look effortless, then it actually starts to become less attractive. So what I'd like to do is actually, I'm going to do a screen share to my phone and show you in just a few seconds my quick process about how I do photo editing. So I'm going to do screen share. I'm going to go to iPhone/iPad. Ooh, no, it's asking for it. Okay.
I didn't even know you can do a screen share to your phone from Zoom.
Yeah, it's based on mirroring.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm mirroring.
Yeah.
TV, so it's pretty cool.
So let's do this. Zoom, mirroring. There we go. You see it? All right, so here's the process. I'm going to take a quick selfie. Right there. I'm going to go over to Enlight. I was practicing one earlier today, you can see. Right there. I'm going to go to image/adjust, and I like to keep things pretty normal. It just kind of pops up some color. It has some very deep features in this, which I will not go into. Like, for example, that's way too much. But you can just give it a little tint there. And you can even do some reshaping. I mean, you can do some pretty crazy stuff with this. For example, I can make my face look a little shorter. And then I'm going to share this over to Instagram. And while there are these pre-done filters at the very bottom, I prefer actually to do some more manual adjustments. So I'll do the little contrast thing there. I'll bump up my brightness a little bit, bump up the contrast. Can you hear my dog in the background? Just a little. If you do too much saturation, you look like you just baked a little too much. A little highlight. I'm going to increase some shadow, or reduce some shadows. Kind of give some brightness. And then, so it doesn't look too washed out, if you vignette the edges of it, it gives more of a focal point in the center. And then I'll just bump up the sharpen a little bit. And you can see before, after, just a little bit of extra bump there. And then you can share it to your platform. So that's kind of my basic, real quick process of photo editing.
Fabulous.
I need to do that in like slow motion, but that was great.
That I did it fast because this is recorded, so you can go back and pause and do all that good stuff. All right, and there we go. Okay, so now let's talk about balancing social media posts. One of the big concerns that I hear from a lot of people on my team is they don't want to annoy people with social media posts. They don't want to sound like they're selling something all the time. So I've developed some ways that I go around it that I feel not only really comfortable with, but just excited to do. The first thing is always do your research of what are your friends posting. So scroll through your Facebook or Instagram and see what do they care about, because people post about the things they care about. When you find intersections of what you care about and what they care about, those are the things that you should be posting on for the most part. In the last several months, I've begun a practice that I call great journaling that I've essentially expanded onto social media, and this is like my social media strategy. So I'm giving it all to you. GREAT is an acronym that stands for these words right up here: grateful, relieved, excited, attracted to, and totally loving, where I basically sit down, I have a little moleskin journal, and I write down the things in my life that fit into these categories, and they often become my social media posts. It tends to be stuff that really connects with humanity and people will resonate with as well. Then, of course, traditionally, a lot of the training that you're going to see on social media is posting these 5 categories with fitness, your niche, your passion, your motivation, life events, and then questions. A couple words on some of these. First of all, with motivation posts, like the memes, the quotes, they're only as powerful as the perception people have of that person. So if you have not established any sort of story with other people and all you're doing is sharing motivational quotes, they mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're wasting your time. So that's why it's so important to put your story out there. For life events, they can be both significant as well as just kind of in the moment. For questions, people love giving their opinions on social media. So if you ask people's opinions, they will give it. They love that. I like to do polls. I personally do them overnight. Comparisons of A, B are fantastic. Like, should I get this haircut or that haircut, or should I wear these shoes or those shoes? People love stuff like that. And then I'll also say about fitness. So this is my personal strategy. If you're doing something different, then take a look at it. If it fits, great. If it doesn't, drop it. But I do not post publicly product names, Beachbody product names. I almost never even mention the word Beachbody. I talk about the value of a product, and I talk about what I'm doing with it and the value that it's bringing to me, how my life is getting better. But for example, when I was doing 21 Day Fix, I would talk about my 30-minute fat shredding workout. When I do Body Beast, I talk about my 90-day muscle building workout. The whole point of social media is not to vomit information about this to everybody, which is going to cause them to run away from you, but it's to create a sense of mystery and intrigue that's going to cause them to be like, oh, wait, what are you doing? This fat shredding workout. I need to shred fat. Maybe I can do that. So that's personally what I do. Shakeology, I call my superfood smoothie. So I have all these other names for these products that are not jargon based. So that gets really into this whole dualism of, are you going to brand Beachbody or are you going to brand yourself? I favor branding yourself because people connect with people, not with companies. They have no idea how awesome Beachbody is unless they're a part of it already. The next thing is it's really important to be telling your story. And I like to think of it in little small bits like breadcrumbs. If you've not already done training on telling your story, you definitely need to. So if you're taking selfies, attach some sort of a personal perspective on what you're thinking or what you're doing, so that you can share part of your life in addition to your beautiful face. There's this thing called the underdog effect that essentially when you position yourself as if you are the underdog and you are pulling yourselves up by the bootstraps to make your life better, that naturally causes people to rally around you and cheer you on, which is very different from positioning yourself as this high and mighty, know-it-all guru who's got their life all together. So the more that you can tell your story about the struggles that you've had, where you've come from, what you're doing to make your life better, those are the things that are going to draw people toward your story. Recently, Facebook just started their Facebook Live feature back in December, and it is super, super powerful for a few reasons. Number one, Facebook is giving a higher edge rank to Facebook Live videos. That is, they're showing it to more of your friends because they're trying to win the live video race against other social media platforms. The next reason is that it's raw, it's real. People are looking for authenticity, for connection, and it's very interactive. A lot of people ask about frequency. How often should you post? It depends on the platform. For Facebook, I like to do 2 to 4 for your timeline. For Instagram, no less than once every 2 days. But if you can do like 1 to 3 times a day, that's ideal. If you're doing Snapchat, I typically snap about 8 to 15 snaps a day as well. For timing in general, you want to be on when other people are on. So that's basically before work, during lunch, and then after dinner. And the last topic here is diversifying social media platforms. So I know a lot of people here started on Facebook, and we cling to Facebook with our dear lives. Like our knuckles are white holding onto Facebook. And that's exactly what I did until my business was really essentially reaching a standstill. And I didn't understand what was happening. When I realized that it was because I was saying the same things to the same people over and over and over, and they weren't responding, that's what caused the halt. So I discovered that I needed to expand my network, and Facebook has limitations with expanding your network. It's going to put you in Facebook jail if you just start randomly adding friends. And it's just not as easy of a platform as other social media to expand your network. So as you're looking at other social media platforms, don't stress out too much. You don't need every single one of them. You need to pick the ones that cater to your strengths. If you have a great personality, if you love to speak, or if you're a really great writer, or if you're really hot, it's important to cater to your strengths. So maybe Twitter's better for you. Maybe Snapchat's better for you, rather than, doing something that you feel super uncomfortable with. While you're growing other social media platforms, it's okay to just slightly shift your focus from what you normally do. So, if you're all about Facebook and you're posting 5 times a day, maybe if you're going to be learning Instagram, reduce your posts on Facebook to like 1 or 2 a day. So you have a presence there, but you're really increasing your influence in other social media platforms. As I said, Facebook limitations, just to kind of help push you out of the eagle's nest. If you are feeling like you're clinging to Facebook, you can have much better discovery on Instagram. Facebook tends to have a lot more drama, like personal drama, than other platforms. On Facebook, the people that you grew up with and your family, they know who you were before, and often the times they can't see you in a new light as you're making your life better. And other social media platforms, you can kind of start fresh. And Facebook is becoming more and more corporate. More and more businesses are coming in there. And of course, there's the whole ads part of Facebook. And those who are using Facebook to be social, are seeing that it's getting a little bit businessy for them, and they're actually migrating to other social media platforms. So for me, my personal strategy, kind of my funnel for discovery and expanding your network to new people, for me, Instagram wins. For forming, Snapchat, I think, is the most powerful platform. And then for, of course, mentoring and support, doing our challenge groups and things like that, I think Facebook wins. If you're curious about other platforms, here are some of the big ones. Of course, Periscope, Pinterest, you can read the rest. There's this app called Ghost Codes that just came out for those who are on Snapchat. I'll have a whole Snapchat bootcamp coming out very soon. But the limitation of Snapchat is you can't find people, like there's no discovery. You have to bring them over from other platforms. But Ghost Codes is actually fixing that by creating an opportunity to find people based on specific interests. So if you're looking to grow Snapchat, then you'll definitely want to be on Ghost Codes as well. All right. I just vomited information all over you. I hope this has been valuable. We have a few minutes for you to ask any questions that you have. As you're looking at your notes, I'm going to take us out of screen share and give you texts.
Great call. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Tina.
Great call, Mike. I have a question. Sometimes I think I have like a great picture and a great little message and everything, but I'm not really getting much engagement. I know certain things I will like later on people say, I see this post every week or whatever, every day, my workout one. But at the same time, I'm still not getting engagement so that other people can see it also. Any recommendations?
Yeah. So if you're not getting engagement, then it means a few things. Either you're sharing the wrong content to the right people, you're sharing the right content to the wrong people, or the wrong content to the wrong people as well, or it's all at the wrong time as well. So that's why I really advocate scrolling through your friends' Facebook posts and seeing what it is they care about, and rather than pushing your own agenda on them all the time and kind of doing like the daily workout post where it's, you know, just a sweaty selfie every single day. I think a lot of people will scroll past that and say, yeah, I get it. I know Tina's doing this whole fitness thing. So you need to start switching it up and talking about things that other people really care about. Once you get that going, and that's why I like to ask questions, that is going to show Facebook that more people like your posts, and that's actually going to cause your affinity score to rise. So Facebook will actually show your post to more and more people when it's about things that are mainly just important to you.
Okay, thank you.
Ask questions and do your research.
Okay, I have a question. So the things that you share, do you share them in let's say you're posting a picture in Facebook, do you post the same picture on Instagram, or do you vary, or does it make any difference?
Yeah, I do a mixture of both. There are some times where I cross post, and I'll do that in two ways. So posting the same picture on Instagram and Facebook, which is what cross posting is. So way number one is sharing from Instagram. So when it shows up in Facebook, there's a little tag at the top that says, you know, from Instagram. So that's way number one. Way number two is sharing natively the same picture within Facebook rather than sharing from Instagram. It's important to mix it up because if you share it from Instagram, then that announces to everybody on Facebook that you're on Instagram, and they can click on that and follow you on Instagram. However, even though Facebook owns Instagram, they still don't favor third-party apps sharing to Facebook. So you have a lower affinity score if you share from Instagram. So that's why it's important to sometimes put it up as on Facebook directly. As for different content, I think in the beginning it's okay to do cross-posting. Eventually you're going to find that your audiences start to split a little bit, and you'll start to know the culture of the two different platforms, which will change. And so it's important to kind of post in a way that makes sense to that native platform. On Instagram, you can get away with a lot more selfies and workout pictures, like the more the better. They love that stuff. On Facebook, I typically tend to not show all of my selfies and all of my workout stuff over there. I try to go for a lot more balance over on Facebook.
Hey, it's Shauna. Do you post on a like page?
I do not.
Okay. I didn't think you.
Yeah, I don't.
I have a question about videos, and I've heard different things. And by you saying about the third-party apps, for example, I have a YouTube channel. I use it a lot for really more trainings than it is for engaging a following, except I did post a random Jim Rohn video, and now I have like 700,000 views on this one video. So I have like all these subscribers and all this stuff. I don't know what it's about, but when I'm posting videos on Facebook, it's better. From what I heard, is it better to post the link, or is it better to post the actual video and then go to YouTube and then upload it to YouTube?
Yeah. For Facebook, it's better to post it natively within Facebook. Do not post links on Facebook. They hate YouTube because it's Google. Facebook and Google don't always play nicely with each other. If you do want to have some sort of a link, put it in the first comment.
All right, cool. Good stuff.
What about hashtags? How do you, I noticed some people over hashtag stuff and only some of them get read. Where do you?
Yeah. So are you specifically talking about Instagram hashtags or just in general?
In general.
Yeah. I think hashtags on Facebook look ridiculous, even though Facebook's trying to do hashtags. It's just not the language of the platform. Hashtags over on Instagram, I think, are really great. Don't put them in the caption. Put them in the first comment so you can erase them afterwards, after like 2 days. So that way it doesn't look like you're over hashtagging. But personally, I don't mind going up to the 30 hashtag limit because it's really all about discovery. I have a whole training about hashtags in my Instagram training, and I can show you the link to that because there's a lot that we can say about hashtags. But I think they're great. Don't hashtag product names, like don't do hashtag 21 Day Fix. Hashtag Shakeology, Beachbody, don't do that because that's just going to get a bunch of representatives from other companies trying to spam you.
Or other coaches just doing the same thing.
Yeah, you won't be heard. You have to hashtag within your niche and something that's specific to the picture.
Well, Michael, I want to thank you for getting on this call. There was so much great information. I learned a lot, actually. Sometimes even for the seasoned coaches who've been in it for a while, there's always something new that you can learn. I had a mentor that taught me once, when you're green, you grow, you're ripe, you rot. So basically means no one knows. And I even said this today at my regular job, no one. You never know more than anybody else. There's always new information that you can learn from other people. And the information that you shared was so valuable that I know everybody on the team and the people who watch this video are going to be really inspired. And I bet you're going to get at least 5, 10, at least 20 more followers in the next 5 minutes. But I want to thank you for, getting on the call. You're a great friend and good to follow you on the different social media platforms. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have downloaded the Snapchat app. And some of those things are really cool, like the dogs licking the.
Yeah, those filters are awesome.
I know. Like if you could just give like a quick 1 minute blurb on what Snapchat is and what type of form it should be used in.
Yeah. So Snapchat is one of the emerging platforms. It is essentially a messaging platform where you can send messages of text, video, and picture. You can draw on the pictures, and you can add them to what is called your story, in which they exist for 24 hours and then they disappear. Or you can also send them directly to one or more people. And once they view that content for a maximum of 10 seconds, it disappears unless they take a screenshot. In my opinion, it is like I said, it was one of the best platforms for forming people. People's defenses are down because it's not about high production values. It's about the real, the raw, the authentic. And as I learned from the founder of Snapchat, I'll close with this, whereas Facebook and Instagram essentially are communicating that your life is a product of the experiences that you've had, Snapchat is communicating that your life is the sum of the experiences you're currently having right now. And for the younger generation, and it's quickly aging up, that is the thing that people care about, not your past. They care about what's happening right now.
That's good information to know. Because I never knew. I was talking with Michelle, and I'm like, yeah, these things on Snapchat. She's like, isn't that where the pictures disappear? I'm like, who would want that? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Why would they want the pictures to disappear? That type of thing. So I still have to learn more about it, but it's an interesting platform. So I just like the pictures,
Do you recommend using your name on there on Snapchat or not? I mean, it's gone in 24 hours, right?
Putting your name on Snapchat? What do
you know, like your real name.
Yeah.
I downloaded it, but I didn't set it up or anything.
Yes. I do recommend that, especially for those of us who are using it for professional reasons. If you do not put your real name on it, then it tends to communicate that you're using it for under the table reasons.
Okay.
Two questions, real quick. With your Instagram, if you started with like a handle, like your name, as in not in your name, like mine says Island Chick 30, is there a way to go and change that? Or once it's created, it's changed? It stays?
You can change it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I use all my
Very
stuff
easy
over to you.
on your profile.
Okay. And then also, if you post something, Facebook, Instagram, maybe not Snapchat, but if it doesn't get a lot of engagement, it just ends up being bomb post or bad timing, do you suggest deleting it? Okay.
Yeah, I sure do.
Okay. I'm going through and deleting. I was just curious if I was the only one who did that.
No, I did it too. I felt like deleting my Monday morning post. Anyway.
Yeah. Like on Instagram, not only are people seeing that picture by itself within their feed, but if they get curious about you, they'll go over to your page and they'll see all of your pictures right next to each other. And that's where they can see what's engaged well and what hasn't engaged well. And that's how they can also see, oh, she takes all of the same picture. Like if one hits well, then you do the same thing over and over. And that tends to kind of disillusion people as well, unless you're really hot. If you're really hot, you can do whatever you like.
That's true. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you getting on the call. And then everybody put their diva lights on. One last quick picture on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for getting on the call, and I will see you in the Alliance. Talk to you guys later. Bye.